All right, guys. Rice cards and games and cards here. We are going to be starting a Yu-Gi-Oh series. This is what I hinted at in my rebranding video. Took some cards and got a bunch of trade credit. It's how that Pokemon video happened, and that's how this and the next Yu-Gi-Oh video are happening. We're going to be doing a sealed only series. Going to be a little bit different. So we're going to be opening up 3 Fire King structure decks. Just came out today when you're seeing this. It would already come out, but it's a crazy good structure deck. We're going to open up one on camera. The other 2 will open up off. And then we'll make a deck with just these 3. Next video, we'll be opening up an entire booster box of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rarity Collection. And what we're going to do is, every pull that we get that we want to use in this deck, we will put off to the side. We're going to duel using the sealed only 3 deck. And every loss, we will add 1 card to the deck. Every win, we will add 2 cards to the deck. And that's what we're going to do about 2 to 3 duels a video. But this video and the next video are just going to be opening and deck building. This is going to be opening and deck building. The next video will just be straight up opening. And then anticipation of cards that we have that we're going to be waiting to add to the deck. So let's get into this Yu-Gi-Oh! Fire King structure deck. It's great because it's a very good deck as it is. Plus it has, oh, that's different. Kind of have to open it from the bottom. But yeah, it has some really good staple cards in it. Some really good hand traps. So you're starting off not blind from hand traps. Let's check out this playmat. Why not? On the back, it just tells you like cards you can add. Cards from Age of Overload, Duelist Nexus, Cyberstorm Access, Photon Hypernova. Here is the playmat. Can't get the whole thing on camera. Kinda. Yeah. It's a nice playmat. Never used the paper ones though. I got a nice cloth one. Fix the computer there, and let's open this deck up. I love how easy they've made Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks to open. Alright, so first card here, we got Sacred Fire King Garunix. And I'll read what it does. If your monster that was originally fire is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. If it was there when the monster was destroyed, or hand, even if not. So you can chain getting this card and then summoning it. That's pretty crazy. If this card is a normal or special summon, you can destroy 1 Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster in your hand, deck, or face-up field, except Sacred Fire King Garunix. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's attack it had there until the end of this turn. You can only use it once per turn. Alright, the next ultra rare is Fire High King Avatar Kirin. During the main phase... Oh, this has foil bleed. Does this one have it? No. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like a kind of like an ultimate rare. The whole card is foil. That's cool. That's definitely not by design. That's definitely an accident. During the main phase, if this card is in your hand, quick effect, you can destroy 1 other fire monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, special summon this card. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Fire King monster from your hand or graveyard, except Fire King High Avatar Kirin. Then you can destroy 1 card on the field. You can only use the effect once per turn. So these are very, very good cards. Like, they... Get these on camera. They help each other out a lot. Next we have, this one has a little bit of foil bleed, not as much, but a little bit. Fire King Avatar Rangbali. This one is, if a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. When a spell trap card or effect is activated while this card is on the field, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy one other fire monster in your hand or face-up field. Now, this is a lot of destroying your own cards to get effects to go off, so very interesting. I haven't really ever played a deck like this, so it's going to be fun. Next, we got Fire King Sanctuary. When this card is activated, you can play... Excuse me. So next, we have Fire King Sanctuary. When this card is activated, you can place one Fire King Island from your deck face up in your field zone. Once per turn, if a card in your field zone would be destroyed by card effect, you can destroy one fire monster in your hand or face up field instead. Once per turn, if your opponent special summons a monster, you can immediately after this effect resolves Xyz summon one Fire Xyz monster using only Fire King monsters you control. That's a very good card. It's like terraforming on steroids for this deck. So our last ultra rare is a Xyz monster, Garunix Eternity Hyang of the Fire Kings. So this effect, it needs 2 plus level 8 monsters to summon. If it is Xyz summon, you can destroy all other monsters on the field. Wow. You can attach one material from this card, then target one spell or trap card on the field, destroy it. And if you do, this card gains 500 attack. It already has 3,000. If this card is destroyed while it has material, you can special summon Fire King monsters from your graveyard up to the number of materials this card had. Wow, that is a very good boss monster. Next we got super rare Fire King Skyburn. Target an equal number of Fire King monsters you control and cards your opponent controls, destroy them. If a Fire King card you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use it once per turn and only once that turn. Alright. Another super rare Echelon of the Fire Kings. So the effect is special summon 3 fire monsters, 1 beast warrior, 1 winged beast, 1 each from your hand, deck, and graveyard, but their effects are negated. Also destroy them during the end phase. You can banish this card from your graveyard this turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when you normal or special summon a Fire King monster. So I'm assuming you would use this to Xyz summon, to help Xyz summon. Alright, and our last super rare is Legendary Fire King Ponix. Cute little bird. If your monster that was originally fire is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Fire King spell or trap from your deck to the hand. During the next standby phase, after this card was destroyed and set to the graveyard, add this card from the graveyard to your hand. You can only activate it once per turn. Next, we have Fire King Avatar Garunix. So the effect is, if a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to your graveyard, you can special 1 Fire King Avatar monster from your deck. Wow. Fire King Avatar Barong. If a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by card effect except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, during the next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, add 1 Fire King card from your deck to your hand except Barong. Next we have Fire King Avatar Yaksha. If a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can destroy 1 card in your hand or field. You can only use it once per turn. Fire King Avatar Kirin. Wait, is that the same one? Or no, it's High Avatar Kirin. This is just Avatar Kirin. If a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by card effect during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can send one fire monster from your deck to the graveyard. Next, we have Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos. It's a long effect. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 fire and or dragon monsters from your hand and or graveyard, except this card. Special summon this card. During your opponent's end phase, if you control this special summon card, return it to the hand. You can discard this card and 1 fire monster to the graveyard, then target 1 card on the field, destroy that target. So you can turn it into, basically you can use it as a like a crutch. If you need a monster out there you're about to lose or something, or take a lot of damage, you can also use it as a hand trap. If this card is banished, you can add 1 fire dragon monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use 1 effect per turn and only once that turn. So you can't use both. Burner Dragon Ruler of Spirits, or Sparks. You can discard this card and 1 dragon or fire monster, special summon 1 Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos from your deck, but it cannot attack this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. Alright, next we have, come on, sticking together, Coach Captain Bearman. Cannot be used as material for an Xyz summon except for the Xyz summon of a Fire Warrior monster. You can normal summon this card without tributing, but its attack, it gets halved. Once per turn, you can make all level 4 Beast Warrior monsters you control become level 8 until the end of this turn. Now we have Coach Soldier Wolfbark. You can target 1 level 4 Fire Beast Warrior monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense mode, but negate its effects. You can only use this effect once per turn. Next we have True King Angmazud, the Vanisher. Might not put that in the deck just because I can't say it. If this card is in your hand, you can destroy 2 other monsters in your hand or face-up field, including a fire monster. If you do, special summon this card, and if you do that, you can banish 1 monster from your opponent's field or graveyard if both the destroyed monsters are fire. If this card is destroyed by card effect, you can add 1 non-fire worm monster from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. That's actually pretty good. Oops. Infernal Flame Emperor. Cannot be special summoned. When this card is tribute summoned, you can banish up to 5 monsters from your graveyard, destroy spells, traps on the field equal to the number banished to activate this effect. That is good, except you can't special summon it, and it's a very high star, so I don't really like that. Next, we have a Kaiju, a Fire Kaiju. Dogoran the Mad Flame Kaiju. You can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field in attack position by tributing 1 monster they control. If your opponent controls a Kaiju monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in attack position. You can only control 1 Kaiju monster. Once per turn, you can remove 3 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the field, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. This card cannot attack the turn it is activated. Next, we have the Blazing Mars. When this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish 3 other monsters from your graveyard. Special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon other monsters for the rest of the turn. During your main phase 1, you can send all other monsters you control to the graveyard. Inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster sent to the graveyard. You can only use it once per turn. Interesting. Next, we have Bonfire Colossus. If you control a fire monster, you can special summon this card. If this card is special summoned, target 2 fire monsters you control and destroy them. I remember this card from back in the day. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. Once per turn during your standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect, and send it to the graveyard, special summon this card. If you do, destroy all spells and traps on the field. It's good and bad. Royal Firestorm Guards. If this card is normal summon, target 4 Pyro monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 4 into the deck, and draw 2 cards. Another oldie right here. Spirit of Flames. Cannot be normal summoned, must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 1 fire monster from your graveyard. Gains 300 attack during your battle phase only. Fencing Fire Ferret. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy that target, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Next we have Firebrand Hymnist. When this card is normal summon, you can send cards from the top of your opponent's deck to the graveyard equal to the number of cards they control. If this card is special summon, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of cards your opponent controls. Sounds very similar. You can only use it once per turn. Alright. Another classic right here. Alpha, the Master of Beasts. Cannot be normal summoned. Must first be special summoned while the total attack of all your monsters controls more than that of all your monsters your opponent controls is more than all of your monsters you control. You can target any number of beast, beast warrior, and or winged beast monsters you control, return them to your hand, then return face-up monster your opponent controls to the hand equal to the number of cards you return to your hand. Also for the rest of the turn, Alpha, the Master of Beasts, cannot attack directly. You can use this effect once per turn. Now, one of the big reasons this deck is so good is you get a great hand trap in Droll Lockbird. If you don't know what it does, if a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand except during the main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. For the rest of the turn, cards cannot be added from either player's main deck to their hand. Great hand trap. Next we have Onslaught of the Fire Kings. If only your opponent controls a monster, special summon 1 Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster from your deck, but its effects are negated. Also, it is destroyed during the end phase. Circle of the Fire Kings. Target 1 fire monster you control and 1 fire monster in your graveyard. Destroy that monster you control, and if you do, special summon that other monster from your graveyard. You can only activate it once per turn. Oops, I got 2. Rekindling. Special summon from your graveyard as many fire monsters as possible with 200 defense, but banish them during the end phase. A lot of the lower level monsters are 200. Next we have Fire Formation Tenki. When this card is activated, you can add 1 level 4 lower Beast Warrior monster from your deck to your hand. All Beast Warrior monsters you control gain 100 attack. You can only activate it once per turn. Another classic right here. Destroy all monsters on the field. Dark Hole. Trade-in is just discard 1 level 8 monster, draw 2 cards. Next week, last spell card here. Herald. I think it's the last one. There might be another one in there. They do weird stuff at the back. Pay 1,500 life points. Declare 1 monster type and attribute. Your opponent must send 1 face-up monster with the declared type and attribute from their field to the graveyard if possible. For the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters with that sent monster's name. Interesting. Next, we have Flamville Counter. When a spell or trap card is activated, banish 1 fire monster with 200 defense from your graveyard. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Next, we have Spiritual Fire Art Kuranai. Tribute 1 fire monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. That's pretty good. Another classic right here, Chain Destruction. When a monster with 2,000 or less attack is summoned, target one of them, destroy all cards with that name in your controller's hand and main deck. Another great card right here, classic Torrential Tribute. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. Another one, the main ones, the next two are I would say Droll, this, and the next card are the main reasons to get this deck, even if you don't want to play this deck. Solemn Judgment. When a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card is activated, pay half of your life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. High risk, high reward. And of course, Infinite Impermanence. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. Then if this card was set before activation is on the field at resolution, for the rest of this turn, all other spell or trap cards in that column are negated. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. So we have Power Sink Stone. Each time a monster effect is activated, place one spell stone counter on this card, maximum of 2. While this card has 2 spell stone counters, neither player can activate the effects of a face-up monster on the field. Also, the effects of face-up monsters on the field are negated once per turn during the end phase. If this has any spell stone counters, remove them. Is it just actually? Yeah, no, they did something weird. So they have 3. They have 3 extra deck monsters and then a couple of monsters and a spell card. But we have Coach King Giant Trainer. It costs 3 level 8 monsters. You can detach one material, draw one card, and reveal it. If it's a monster, inflict 800 damage to your opponent. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. You can only use this effect up to thrice per turn. I don't know why I said it like that, but... And then we got Diamond Direwolf. 2 level 4 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, then target one beast, beast warrior, winged beast monster you control, and one other card on the field and destroy them. Next, we have Hida the Fire Charmer Ablaze. 2 monsters, including a fire monster. This card is always treated as a familiar possessed card. You can target one fire monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your zone this card points to. If this Link Summon card is destroyed by battle or is destroyed by opponent's card effect while it's in its monster zone, you can add one fire monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Next, we have Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Is that the same as the one we already got? No, Sacred. Okay, so this is different. Once per turn during the next standby phase. Oh, this is a card. Once per turn during the next standby phase after this card was destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon this card from the graveyard. If you do, destroy all other monsters on the field. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Fire King monster from your deck, except Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Second last card, we have Fire King High Avatar Arvada. When a monster effect is activated while this monster is on the field, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy one other fire monster in your hand or face-up field. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one fire beast, beast warrior, winged beast in your graveyard except Fire King Avatar Arvada. Special summon it, but negate its effects. Also destroy it during the end phase. You can only use it once per turn. And lastly, we have Fire King Island, the field spell for this deck. There we go. Fire King Island, the field spell for this deck to end it off. If this face-up card in the field zone is sent to the graveyard or banished, destroy all monsters you control. You can only use one of the following effects of Fire King Island per turn, and only once that turn. So that's 2 you can choose from. During your main phase, you can destroy one monster in your hand. If you do, add one Fire King monster from your deck to your hand. Or, if you control no monsters, you can special summon one Fire Winged Beast monster from your hand. So that is what the deck has. I'm going to open up these other 2, and we're going to construct a deck. We'll be right back. Alright guys, the deck is made. We're going to do this in reverse order. We're going to do extra deck first, just because it's out of order, but it's literally just 4 or 3 of every card, and there's only 4, so there's 12 extra deck monsters with this. 3 of each. But yeah, let's get into this deck that I've built that we're going to try. Still have the rest of the deck here. This is the biggest what if, the Kaiju. So I'm definitely going to put that on the top, and that will be one of the cards we experiment with. But starting off with the monsters, we have 1 copy of Sacred, let's put it right here, 1 copy of Sacred Fire King Garunix. We have 1 copy of Fire King High Avatar Garunix. I think we have 3 of this. Yes, so we have 3 copies of Fire King High Avatar Kirin. Forget how many I put of each card. Fire King Avatar Arvada. I made the deck, like I'm not just, but I don't memorize all their names yet. We do it this way. Yeah, we got 2 of him. 2 of Barong. Two of Yaksha. Three of Ponix. And of course 3 of Droll and Lockbird. Those are all the monsters. Now the spells. We have 1 copy of Circle of Fire Kings. 1 copy of Rekindling. 1 copy of Fire King Skyburn. We have 3 copies of Fire King Sanctuary. 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. And 2 copies of Fire King Island. I think you only need 2 because with Sanctuary it's like a terraforming and it just gets your thing to it. So with 3 of those, it's like kind of having like, 5. Extra or trap cards are basically all staples except for Echelon of the Fire Kings. And then we got 3 copies of Solemn Judgment, 3 copies of Torrential Tribute, and of course 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Let me know what you guys think about the deck list. Sorry, just had to adjust my laptop. Let me know what you think about the deck list. Obviously, there's nothing we can do here, but if you would make any changes here. Next video, I'm gonna record right after this. We're gonna be opening up a Rarity Collection booster box, setting aside the cards that would work well with this deck. Obviously, a lot of staples, and then we'll get into the duels, trying to add those cards into our decks and see what kind of monster deck we can build. Yeah, don't know why I did that. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this structure deck opening and this deck building. Next video will be the booster box. Hit that like button if you want to see it. Subscribe if you're new. Enjoyed the Side Dish Nation. This is Rice Games and Cards. Cards and Games. And just remember, you are loved. Someone cares about you, and you matter.